Have you ever picked up a hitchhiker? It sounds innocent enough, right? You think you're just helping someone out, getting them to where they need to go. But what if that ride became a journey you would never return from? Imagine this. You're driving down a desolate road, the night air heavy with silence. You see someone on the side, desperate for a ride. You hesitate but give in, thinking it's just a simple act of kindness. But what if that hitchhiker isn't just a stranger? What if there's something else entirely? Something dead? Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you could change the way you view every lone traveler you pass. This story isn't just a random encounter, it's a warning. A warning of something that stalks the lonely roads, waiting for its next victim. Don't turn away now. You'll want to know exactly what happens before you make the next choice. The clock is ticking, and the road ahead is far darker than you could ever imagine. So buckle up. What happens next will make you question every ride you ever take again. Keep watching, because you're going to want to know. Will the hitchhiker return? For you. It was just past midnight on a lonely stretch of highway. The sky was a blanket of darkness, punctuated only by the dim headlights of Michael's old pickup truck cutting through the void. Michael had been driving for hours, his eyelids heavy, his coffee lukewarm, and his only companion the static-filled radio that crackled intermittently. The isolation of the road felt oddly comforting, until it wasn't. A figure emerged on the side of the road, hand outstretched, thumb pointed skyward. Michael hesitated. Hitchhikers were rare these days, and he'd always been warned against stopping for strangers. But something about this man felt compelling. The hitchhiker was young, maybe late 20s, with a pale complexion and dark, restless eyes. He wore an outdated jacket that looked like it had seen better days. "Need a ride?" Michael called out, rolling down his window slightly. The man nodded, his expression unreadable. "Thanks. Just trying to get to Graysontown." Michael unlocked the door and the hitchhiker climbed in silently, setting a small duffel bag at his feet. The ride was quiet. Too quiet. Michael tried making small talk, but the hitchhiker answered in clipped one-word responses. What stood out most was how often the hitchhiker glanced at the dashboard clock, his gaze darting to it every few minutes. "Running late for something?" Michael joked, attempting to lighten the mood. The hitchhiker stiffened. Something like that. His voice carried an unsettling weight, as if he knew something Michael didn't. After a few more miles, Michael couldn't hold back his curiosity. "So what's got you so nervous? Late night date? Big meeting?" The hitchhiker turned to him, his face oddly expressionless. "This time of night, I'm always late." Michael chuckled nervously, unsure how to respond. "Well, don't worry. Graysontown isn't far. You'll make it." The hitchhiker didn't reply. Instead, he fixed his gaze out the window, his fingers drumming against his knee. As they approached the outskirts of Graysontown, the hitchhiker suddenly spoke up. "You can drop me off here." Michael glanced around. The spot was desolate, with no street lights or houses in sight. "You sure? There's nothing here." "I'll be fine," the hitchhiker said, his tone final. Reluctantly, Michael pulled over. The hitchhiker opened the door, grabbed his duffel bag, and stepped out. Before Michael could say another word, the man was gone, disappearing into the shadows. The next morning, Michael stopped at a diner in Graysontown for breakfast. As he sipped his coffee, his eyes landed on a framed newspaper clipping on the wall. "Man killed in Graysontown accident, 1958. Michael's heart skipped a beat as he studied the grainy black-and-white photo beneath the headline. The man in the picture was unmistakable. It was the hitchhiker. He asked the waitress about the article. "Oh, that's the local ghost story," she said casually. "They say he died right here on this road. Every now and then people claim to see him, always hitching a ride to Graysontown." Poor guy never made it in time for whatever it was. Michael's stomach churned. He remembered the hitchhiker's cryptic words. This time of night, I'm always late. That night, Michael couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. As he lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, the clock on his nightstand began to tick louder and louder. And then, a soft knock echoed through his house. He froze, his breath hitching in his throat. Slowly, he crept to the door and peered through the peephole. Standing on his porch, duffel bag in hand, was the hitchhiker. What happens next? Some say the hitchhiker returns to claim those who picked him up. Others believe he's a warning of impending doom. Would you open the door? As you sit with that unsettling feeling, ask yourself, what would you have done if it were you in that car? Would you have picked up the hitchhiker? Or would you have driven past, wondering about the fate of the stranger on the road? I want to hear your thoughts. Have you ever had a strange encounter like this? Share your story in the comments below. Let's talk about it. And don't forget, if you're intrigued by what you've just heard, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and share it with someone who needs to know. The roads we travel may not always be as empty as they seem. Stay alert, stay curious. Until next time.